growing up where I grew up and where we antelope hunted, I mean, we would drive into where we hunted and kill 4 or 5 bucks in the afternoon. And so antelope hunting was never a thing that was difficult for us. So last year was a real kick in the nuts when we pulled up out there and there's literally no antelope and, 40 other trucks looking for antelope. And it sounded like the first weekend of the season, they really got hammered and everybody that killed a buck out of that unit really killed it within the first 2 days of the season. We run and gun. A lot of time, we road hunt them really. We get behind the wheel and we go, and we just try to cover ground. We'll go from the top of our unit to the bottom of our unit in a day, and then we'll start back at the top at noon and come back down. So I mean, our thing is just let's cover miles, let's look and see what we find. Scouting out there was just, it gave us so much hope, and it gave us, we saw the antelope and it just looked really good and it felt really good, honestly, but it just did not pan that same way. So our first stock, pull the rifle out, whatever, we pack up and head over the ridge. We did this stock really well, and we ended up closing the gap to I think like 75 yards. And we knew it was all does going into the field. We were just hoping that, we could really find or jump a buck on our way in that was in the bottom of the drainage, or a buck would move in, because they were still kind of rutting around, but it's pretty light at that point. So, our intention was to just get close, see if we missed the buck while glassing, and, we came up over the ridge at 75 yards. I laid down, we glassed them for another 30 minutes, looking for any possible thing that could be a buck. And we ended up, not pulling the trigger just because it was all does. After that stock, we spent a lot of time in the truck just hunting down any antelope we could find at that point. We did probably another 8 hours of hunting after that first stock, and we left no stone unturned in that unit. We were up and down and back and forth all day, and we were finding antelope, we just weren't finding any bucks. And our stock at the end of the day, we calls this older gentleman right at the end of the day about his quarter-mile plot. Yep, go ahead, you guys are just going out there trying to kill some meat. And I was like, yes sir. And we hop out of the truck and instantly the wind starts blowing the wrong direction. They catch our wind and they're 10 miles away already, and you're like, we're 5 steps from the truck, what the hell? Felt like it was really just an exercise in driving. We saw the forecast coming and we knew it was gonna be snow, but we didn't expect, 10 inches in the morning and then for it to be consistent snow all day. So it really kind of took us out, because how we hunt antelope a lot is we're covering ground and glassing, and just the snow cuts our vision. Most of the day we had 200-300 yards maybe of visibility. We, finally started closing in on at least a few antelope. I knew we were getting close because they were kind of on the move, and so we were just trying to close the distance. I left Greasy behind me, and I pop up over the hill, and I'm trying to I get down on my backpack, and I'm looking for a shot, and they left their stubble about 18 inches, 2 feet high, for the cattle to come in on, and it just was not very conducive for a shot. I tried everything to find the buck in my scope, and then, with the snow coming down too, we were dealing with elements against us and everything. I just wasn't comfortable and didn't feel like squeezing a shot. We blew a tire, and it was a nightmare, to be honest with you. Our jack broke halfway through getting it up. We're on the side of this dirt road that's a damn near a highway with antelope hunters. No one's stopping, and it's pouring snow, and it's just miserable. I put on 15 layers and crawl out of the truck. So here comes a truck down the road. He pulls over, whatever. We start talking to him. He's like, "Oh, I can help you out. I'll go get a jack from the ranch, and I'll grab you guys a impact gun." Awesome, thank you. You're a lifesaver. And he shows up, and we start talking more with him, and he brings a cardboard for us to lay on so we stay out of the muck. And lo and behold, he's the guy we were driving halfway across the county to come talk to, because those were some of the only antelope we've seen all day. So we have this stroke of luck of running into him, and we're talking with him afterwards, thanking him for his help, and we go, "Hey, how's it, you ever let antelope hunters come out?" He goes, "Your guys' day is going pretty rough already." And I was like, "Yeah, it is." He goes, "Yeah, you guys can go up there." He's like, "You guys are already struggling." So we're like, "Sweet, thank you," hop in the truck, drive back up there, no antelope. And it just seemed like that's all the day was. We found a few in the morning, and then we spent all afternoon trying to relocate them, and I think they just hunkered down, and we just couldn't get back on them. And so that's when, still covering miles, storm pushing in, and all of a sudden the heavens open up, and we see 20,000 ducks. And we're like, well, dude, we can't antelope hunt in 18 inches of snow and no visibility, so we got to make a plan here. And we knew it was going to be good because nobody was out there. And it was starting to calm down, and the storm was starting to settle in. And so we made a plan to duck hunt. Well, the last weekend was kind of thrown together. I saw the date coming to an end quick, and I needed to be back in Bozeman to attend to some stuff I had here. So I called my dad. I said, "Hey, take Friday off. We'll take a half day Friday. I'll meet you at noon. We'll hunt the afternoon. We'll hunt half day Saturday, and then I got to get back to Bozeman because I got stuff going on." "Okay, yeah, that'll work." So I drive over and meet up with my dad, and the first night we just cover country, nothing. And I'm like, this isn't gonna happen. And my dad's like, "All right, we'll get up early next morning, and we'll get there before the sun comes up, and we'll, hopefully just track one down, because he has a doe tag, I have a buck tag." And I'm like, okay, we just need to get some meat for the freezer. And so, we're hunting hard. We're covering ground, glassing a lot, and it just nothing's turning out for us. And I mean, it's discouraging. And I'm like, Dad, let's take a different way home than we usually take. He's like, okay. I was like, I know we got permission on this field right here. And he's like, okay, perfect. Sure enough, as we drive by, there's a buck and 2 does. And I'm like, this is not gonna work right. We've had this happen before. I was like, we've blown a lot of stalks. Like, these are pretty skittish antelope. And I was like, I just don't think it's gonna be right, And so we haul ass to the farmer's house, beat on the door. Hey, how's it going? You got an antelope buck in place. It's closing day. Can we hunt them? Yeah, go ahead. You guys already have permission, whatever. Sweet. Haul ass back. No antelope. And I'm like, we did it again. Missed them by this much. Well, we turn around, and sure enough, here's the buck and the 2 does going hill over hill on public. And I jumped out at the fence line, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna run up the side of public, and I'm gonna cut him off. So here comes this buck and doe, scooting in. I don't want them to see me, and I know how skittish they are, so I'm scooting in, and all of a sudden he pops over a hill, 75 yards. I was like, well, it's as good a shot as any. He's broadside. Clicked it off safety, settled down onto my backpack because I had to hustle out there. Got my breathing, squeezed one off, dropped him in his tracks, and just a great feeling after how much work that we've all put in. On all sides. I think we ended up hunting. This was definitely the hardest I've ever hunted for an antelope, and it was really fun. And all the guys that helped along the way. Big shout out to my dad taking off time from work, and Greasy filming. It's all a big help. And just it's fun to get to document what we're up to and where we're about and where we're headed. I think it's some pretty fun stuff that we get to do out here.
Yeah, so unfortunately I wasn't there to be a part of Dante harvesting that buck. I had to be over in Missoula out of town, so he had to self-film, which is hard, especially being like the hunter and self-filming. Me and him put in a lot of work, a lot of time, trying to throw this together. So it was pretty unfortunate that I wasn't there as a camera guy to help out and help pack out and do all that kind of fun stuff. But at the end of it, I think we made something pretty awesome, and he got it done, and that's all you can ask for.
The meat is a huge part for us. I prefer to eat wild game all year round. I'm just grateful we could have meat throughout the summer. It's good, clean game meat. And it's really important to us just because you know where it comes from and you know what it's been eating, and we do all our own processing, so you know exactly what you got and where you got it from.